This is White Mountains Today on White Mountains TV 16. Overcast skies, a little dusting of snow, and temperatures in the 20s. It's getting brighter out. It's going to be a great day in the White Mountains. Joining me in the studio right now, I've got Nelly and Roger Hartmann from the Hartmann Model Railroad Museum in Intervale, New Hampshire, just north of North Conway on Route 16. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
And today we're going to talk about trains and hobbies in general. For people who have never been to the Hartmann Model Railroad Museum before, and I know it's one of those places that is right on 16, you go past it all the time. If you've never gone in, you're going to be blown away when you get in there, because the place is it's so big inside. How would you describe it for someone who's never been there?
We have two buildings of 8,000 square foot. It reminded us when we came to you this morning that this is where we started.
Yeah.
Right here where we are sitting was one of the two rooms. The room here and then your room next door were the American room and the European room of the early museum, which we started early 92. At the end of 91, we bought the business from Judy Brown, the Brass Caboose Hobby Shop. And we then started the little museum here, right in this location where we are sitting. It's always great to come and visit again. Now we have 8,000 square foot. Before it was 3,000, including the shop. Now we have 2 times 8,000, so you can imagine there is much more to see. We do have over 15,000 different items to see in our museum, and also the hobby shop is 8,000 square foot. I would say, as far as I know, we are the second largest shop in the US. The only one topping us is Caboose Hobbies in Denver, which is bigger. Otherwise, we are really one of the largest shops in the United States in hobbies, in trains in general. We specify or specifically specialize in trains. Mm-hmm. We do have a little bit of other things, but you cannot go too far apart, because otherwise you never have what people want.
Right.
So we really in the train situation, we can say we can help everybody. We have been able over the past 20 years. This is also something which is coming up in November. We are 20 years incorporated. That
Wow.
means we are 20 years in business, and we are glad to have chosen the White Mountains to be here. Business, of course, is down like everywhere else. Hobby in general is down. It's the interest in the hobby which is there, but people have no time. One of the biggest problems is that the new trend is to the one-man show. Everybody has its own business, and it's not doing things together anymore.
Right, we're in an age of cell phones, electronics, and everything is instant. I'll tell you, my son, who's 3 years old, is so into trains, and he's really gotten into puzzles and models and putting things together, and he loves to learn about trains, and he's been into Hartmann's before, and he is just absolutely in heaven every time he goes in there. And it always fascinates me, getting back to the hobby shop, when you ask a question like, where is one of the biggest hobby shops in the country? And it's right here in your backyard in the White Mountains. And I know a lot of people have never even stepped in there. You've got to check it out, because you'll be so impressed. You'll say, I can't believe this is here right outside North Conway.
That's right, but we also have to say it is a hobby shop, it is not a toy shop. And it's amazing how many people do not see the difference.
Mm-hmm. Definitely have some very interesting items and things that you won't find anywhere else. They are catered towards the hobbyist, someone who is very into putting these things together.
People have the tendency of saying it's expensive, and I hear that off and on, and I usually go back and try to talk to the people and say, listen, if you spend $3,000-4,000 for a layout, yes, at the moment it looks like a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that you have to buy it at once.
Right.
You don't have to come up with $4,000.
Yeah.
What you can do, you can ask auntie, you can use grandma, you can use anybody to help you with a little item, which then finally will total your layout. The layout has to be built. It takes time to build. That means you can use 2-3 years to build it, even longer. And if you look back, I had 4 people, 5 years employed to build what I have.
Wow.
So we are looking at 50,000 hours of paid labor, which has gone into our museum.
Right.
It's nothing which was there from one moment to another.
Right.
It had to be done.
And it's still growing.
Yeah.
We are still adding on to some of the items. We still change things around. Luckily I have, especially at the moment, I have one good friend, Joe, which is coming on the weekend. He's helping me a little bit,
right.
And together we also do repairs, we do maintenance, but we also help other people to build layouts, give them advice, and we are happy to be able to do that. It always shows that people have different interests in the hobby, and that's what I would quickly like to explain a little. Trains in general started when the railroads formed this country. This country, which is one of the best definitely in the world, has only become what it is due to the railroads. Mm-hmm. The railroad helped to move people, it helped to move goods, and that's how the country was able to develop. The railroads really started very early. Had a major role in unfortunately also in the war between the South and the North, but also especially between East and West Coast. It was the first time that you didn't have to go by boat all the way down over South America to come to the other side of the continent. Right. No, it was transcontinental railroad which cut the time so drastically back. A ship used 3 to 4 weeks to do the journey. Right. The train was able to do it within a week. And if you think of that it was huge progress. Of course, today a plane can do it within 4 or 5 hours, but you cannot transport huge quantities like you can do on the railroad.
A huge, obviously, railroading history in this country, and that's one of the things we should point out. It's not just models at the Hartmann Model Railroad when you go into the hobby shop. For people who are just train enthusiasts, whether you just enjoy watching them or just into the history of trains, lots of great things. What are these things that you brought with you today? Maybe
now, this is a stock certificate from an old railroad company. Of course, all these railroad companies, the old stock certificates which I have in the museum which I'm selling, are no more in business. Even Maine Central and Boston and Maine, Bangor and Aroostook, Atlantic and St. Lawrence, which was a very funny one. The Atlantic and St. Lawrence, which today was called St. Lawrence and Atlantic, couldn't make up their mind because it was between Montreal and Portland, and so they couldn't make up their mind whether it was US dollars or Canadian dollars. So they, instead of fighting each other, they went to London and formed the company in London, issuing the stock in pound sterling. And then they used the pound sterlings and converted in whatever investment they had to do along their line, whether it was in Canada in Canadian dollar or whether it was on the US in US dollars.
Right.
The company eventually went down, and now a new company has taken over to take the line between Boston, Portland, and Montreal. It's very important to see that we still have merging. There's still railroads going together to become bigger.
Right.
We have now basically 4 big ones in the United States left. There were at least 500 different railroads.
So much railroad history, and you can find out a lot more by talking with Roger. He's there at the Hartmann Model Railroad Museum, and of course, you can go in and just and check out the layouts yourself. We're running out of time. We're going to get cut off if we don't keep going. But you were kind enough to bring in $25. This is a pass for a family to come check out the layouts.
That's right. We would like to invite a family. Somebody which is interested, and that's why we also have a railroad question. The question basically is, where in the world is the largest railroad tunnel?
The longest.
The longest. It was just pushed through middle of October of last year, and will be getting in operation by 2017. We have to be aware it takes a lot of work to complete. The tunnels are through, but now we are waiting for somebody to call and tell us in which country. And if you know a little bit more about it, that is even better. But maybe somebody knows the country.
Let's take the callers. 356-6619. And what country is the longest longest railroad tunnel? Good morning, Watch and Win. What's your answer?
Is it Austria?
Not Austria, but very close. Please try again. Good guess. We're in the neighborhood looking for the world's longest railroad tunnel. Good morning, Watch and Win. What's your answer?
Is it Germany?
Not Germany, but again, very close.
Oh, that's too bad.
Try again. Thanks. Good morning, Watch and Win. What's your answer?
France.
Not France. We're kind of skirting around the actual country. Try again. 356-6619. The Hartmanns actually have some history with this country. Good morning, Watch and Win. What's your answer?
Is it Switzerland?
It is Switzerland. Congratulations. Who's this?
This is Caitlin.
Caitlin, you've got yourself a $25 pass to the Hartmann Model Railroad Museum and Hobby Shop. Stay on the line, and we're going to get you information. So she is happy. We are actually so out of time right now, but thank you for all the information. If you'd like to check out the models yourself or visit what we think is the country's second largest hobby shop,
just come in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday during the winter time. We are open still all year.
Okay.
And that's the most important, which I would like to say.
All right.
Remember weekends every time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Nelly Roger Hartmann, Hartmann Model Railroad. We'll be right back right after this. We got to announce our internet watch.